What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is gonna be Love and Hip Hop Miami season 2, episode 8. Okay, so this episode was a little bit of this, a little bit, a lot of hodgepodge going on. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Um, we started the episode off. We had a performance with Chaotic. He's performing a song. We got Shay, Baby Boy, Spectacular, Hollywood, Prince. That's who's there originally. And then Spectacular actually comes in a little bit later on. But they're talking about, they just talking about what's going on with who's who and what's what. They talk about the situation with Bobby and Prince. Um, Chaotic was saying, excuse me. Chaotic was saying that's why Tip didn't show up. It was because of the situation with Chaotic and Prince or whatever, and they just kind of rehash it. I don't care what nobody say. They still sound like I'll get there, but there's a part where they're arguing and they still sound like a bunch of a married couple. But anyway, um, Chaotic said he wanted to get on a song with Trick, and they were like, "Then why did you take Joy out on a date?" Like, they were like, "We hope it don't get back to Trick that you done took Joy out on the date. You talking about you want to do a feature with him, but you taking his wife, because she's still his wife, out on dates and stuff." So they talked about that. Oh my goodness. Excuse me, y'all. So they talked about that. Then we have JoJo and Bobby talking. Bobby is saying, "Look, at this point, ain't nobody really speaking to me. Everybody's mad at me or got an attitude. So I'm trying to reach out to some people so I can, mend some fences." So the first person he reaches out to is JoJo. And basically JoJo lets Bobby know, "Look, I I don't think that your relationship with Prince is a good situation, and I said it, and I'm not going to back down from it, and that's how I feel." And Bobby was, basically saying that, and the whole thing with Amara La Negra, and, hold on. And they basically are talking about Amara being messy and JoJo going back and forth. And it sounds like it's a whole lot of he say, she say, because later on we see a situation where it sounds like Bobby was doing a whole lot of passing back and forth. So it sounds like the tension between Amada and Bobby comes from JoJo running back and forth saying, "Well, Amada said this and Bobby said that." Why do I keep yawning? Oh goodness, I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know why I keep yawning. I'm not sleepy because I slept till 2 o'clock today. I'm not sleepy. I don't know what's going on. Um, but they talk or whatever, and I guess they come to like a happy medium where they're gonna be cool or whatever, whatever. Um, Hollywood has a little get together where he's inviting a bunch of people from the industry to come and talk, and he said network and chop it up. This is where Spectacular was. I'm sorry he wasn't at the earlier scene, but we have Pleasure P, Vega, Veronica Vega, and like I said, Spectacular comes through. Golly, what in the world? Spectacular and Baby Blue, they come through a little bit later on. And basically, Pleasure is, kind of struggling. He said he's sort of struggling with the whole business of everything and what he want to do with Pretty Ricky and all of that. And he says that he booked an Australian tour, a solo tour, because he was like, he don't know what's really going on with the group. And when he lets them know what's going on, he lets Spectacular and Baby Blue know. And of course, they get upset. They're like, "Well, what's up with that? Like, how you going to be booking a solo tour? And we still working on this album." And Pleasure was like, "Yo, my part of the album is done." He said, "Y'all the ones that's dragging y'all feet. Y'all the ones that's not doing anything." He said, "At this point, I'm going to do this tour. I'm sure it's not going to be a long tour." He said, "And when I come back, if y'all are done with the album, I'm all in." He said, "But if y'all still playing around and playing games, I got to make some other moves." So that's fair. I think that's a fair thing to say. Like, "Look, I did my part. I'm gonna go make some money, and when I get back, if y'all finish the album, I'm all in, and let's make this thing work. But other than that, I gotta do something else." We see a scene with Veronica Vega getting ready for a show. I don't care. I'm not talking about her. But we see her father and all that, and yeah, whatever. Then we see a scene with Bobby and Prince. Now, I don't know if Tip purposely set it up for them to meet up and her not be there, or if it just happened to be just a what in the world? Excuse me, y'all, a coincidence. Now, they get to arguing. I promise y'all, for the life of me, I don't understand what they arguing about. They going back and forth. Prince they throwing stuff, and Prince trying to get the Bobby, and then and they yelling about whose music is better than whose music, and who ain't shit, and who got clout, who's good for whose brand. They sound like a married couple, or at least a couple breaking up. They sound like a couple. Sound like there's some shit going on that we don't even know about. Because even when Bobby is talking later on, Bobby's talking to Miami Tip, and she was like, "Well, what happened?" And he said, "Well, we was with the strippers or whatever, and instead of us just chilling and dropping some dollars, I look up and he in the corner talking to some thoughts." See, that sounds like a jealous person. Why do you care what he's doing? When I'm at the club with my girls, we keep an eye on each other to make sure that ain't nothing going down. But I don't give a damn about who they talking to. So why are you worried about, and of course he make it seem like, well, it's because Prince has a girlfriend, but then later on in the episode, you talk about how you and the girlfriend don't even like each other, and how she happy that y'all not getting along. So, what? What are we talking about now? Really? It's just a mess. And we see them, there's no resolution to their situation. They arguing, they go outside, and they talking, but they don't resolve anything. And it's just, y'all, it don't make sense to me. I don't understand the Bobby Prince thing, other than they sleeping together. That's it. I don't understand it. Or Bobby likes Prince. Other than that, I don't understand the whole situation. So anyway, Bobby pulls up on Miami Tip, and he apologizes to her, and like I already told y'all what he said about how the whole thing went down, and he tried to make it seem like it wasn't his fault, and he didn't do anything wrong, and it's all on Prince. And Tip was like, you got to take responsibility for your part too. Like, both y'all got some shit going on, and y'all need to both take responsibility for it. But she forgives him, told him he owe her a lobster dinner, but she forgives him. Alright, now here's a serious situation. Mr. Chaotic. Now, Chaotic, he get on my nerves and all that other stuff because of just, But we find out that Chaotic was in a high-speed chase with the police. He says that the police were following him in an unmarked car, and he didn't know who it was. He said he thought it was somebody that might have been trying to come and get it to shoot him or something. He said he's been in that situation before where somebody was following him and then shot at him. He said, so in all reality, it was an unmarked car. They never turned their lights on. So when he saw them and he thought something was up, he just took off. He said it was I think he said it was an Altima with dark tint. And he ended up getting into a car accident. And so once he got into the accident, he said that's when the police turned their lights on. When he got into the accident, he said, and then, then of course they, arrested him and charged him with 5,000 things, I'm sure. And so we see with Tip and Princess picking him up from jail. He said he bonded himself out, which I thought was good that he was able to do that. And he's telling them what happened. And Tip was like, they ain't never show no lights. No lights. He was like, no, I never saw any lights. And Prince was like, look, at the end of the day, you're a black man in America. You can't act the same way somebody else act. Like, you can't, like that, taking off because you think it's the police thing might work with other people, but it will not work with you. And we'll see a scene later on in the episode with him and his mom, which I thought was really deep. So Bobby then made up with JoJo, and Bobby's made up with Tip. So now he wants to try to make Tip and JoJo make up. And he sets up a situation where they all end up shopping together. And of course, at first, Tip was like, don't do this. Like, why would you bring me here if you knew she was going to be here and I don't really fuck with her? But once they got to talking and got to realizing who has a problem with who and what's the situation with what, once again, who's in the middle? Bobby going back and forth, carrying bones, and now they mad at each other, and Bobby just standing in the middle. And of course, Bobby making it seem like, well, I'm just telling you what was said. And they were like, well, look, if you're going to be carrying bones back and forth, then carry the right bones. Or at least finish, if you're going to tell me that she said she talked shit about me, then let me know when she apologized. You know what I mean? So they all end up making up. And Tip, sneaks a little kiss. And Tip always be sneaking into some kisses, boy, I tell you. So she snuck a little kiss in on JoJo, but JoJo ain't seem to be mad about it, But they all cool now. Okay, all right. Pleasure had a conversation with his dad, which was sort of deep. And really what it sounds like to me is he's frustrated. He doesn't know if he wants to stay in the industry. He loves music, but the industry is just really wearing him out. He feels like, he said, the situation with Pretty Ricky, everything seemed to be kind of going in one direction, but then the father showing up opened up a lot of old wounds, and he's just not really sure how he feels about continuing to do music with them and moving forward with an album. We learned a little bit more about his history. His dad was actually in a funk group called the Silver Platters, I think. And as a kid, his dad was an absentee dad. He said, as I got older, me and my dad sort of reconciled and moved past that. But he grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and he said, I grew up very sheltered. I wasn't allowed. We know Jehovah's Witness don't celebrate birthdays and things like that. He said, but he couldn't go to prom. He couldn't play sports. He couldn't do anything, which really forced him to be a loner and just really be, off to himself. And he said that as a result, he's like that as an adult. Like as an adult, he's a loner. He doesn't really interact with a whole lot of people and, things of that nature. He said that's just kind of where how he grew up. And his dad said, well, look, it sounded to me like you really need to just clear your head. You really need to make some decisions. And he said, when you go to Australia, take that as an opportunity to really figure out what it is you want to do. And it was a deep scene. He was crying, and you could tell he was just really, really upset and just really processing this whole thing. So that was a really good moment to see. And it was definitely good to see him talking to his dad, even after them not having the best relationship growing up. But for him to really be able to reach out to his dad and have that conversation. Oh, Lord. Then Amada and JoJo. Amada is mad because she said that JoJo's supposed to be her best friend, and why is she hanging with Bobby when Bobby be talking shit about her? And JoJo was like, look, I've been friends with Bobby. Yeah, we had a little moment where we wasn't really hanging tight, but she knew I was friends with Bobby. And I'm not going to choose sides. And at the end of the day, I have proven my loyalty to Amada, and if she going to question it, then maybe we not the friends that I thought we were. And I said, you know what? She right. I have a problem when people want to act like who you can and can't be friends with. Just because you're not cool with that person doesn't mean I can't be cool with that person. Now, again, it depends on what they did to you. But it's sounding to me like both of y'all talking shit about each other. And for that, I ain't in it. Now, if it was, there are some lines that will not be crossed. But talking shit ain't got nothing to do with that. And Amada is all upset, and she crying, and she talking about, you're my friend. You can't, you're doing things with him that you never did with me. And it just comes off real bratty. Like, it doesn't come off as, I feel like Bobby violated me in a way that's unspeakable, and you are choosing his side. It just came off very bratty to me. And Amada, I like Amada, but she be on some shit sometime. And JoJo, I ain't crazy about JoJo, but one thing I do like about JoJo is JoJo does not back down from what she said. She said it. She said, look, we're friends, but I'm friends with Bobby. And if that's a problem, I don't know what you're going to do about it, because y'all talk shit about each other, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. So, again, there really was no resolution to that whole situation. Last but not least, we see Chaotic with his mom and his sister. And Chaotic was like, my mother really doesn't know what went down. So he's telling her what happened. And as soon as he starts talking, she just drops her head. And what we learned, his mom was a single mother. And yeah, he went out. He said, I was a product of my environment. He said, I went out there in them streets. I saw my mom working 3 jobs. I saw her struggling. And I see all this money out here in the streets. If I can go out here and make $1,000 in one day and help out, that's what I'm going to do. He was like, but at this point, I done gone straight. I'm not doing nothing illegal anymore. I'm not out here hustling and all that. I'm really trying to go legit. And it just seemed like every time something good happens, something bad happens. And his mother was like, look, do you understand what you do to me every time something happens to you? Do you understand the stress that I've been under? Do you understand how it hurts? She said, every time you walk out that door, I say a prayer. Because I don't know what's going to happen to you. How many times I've had to go to jail. How many times I've had to go to the hospital. Girl, and then his sister lit into his ass. His sister said, let me explain something. She said, you a product of your environment, but you don't have to continue to be that. She said, at the end of the day, yeah, we were struggling, but you never wanted for nothing. So stop acting like, you had to do this grand gesture. She said, and you got to pay attention to what message you sending and what role model you are to your nieces and nephews, because at the end of the day, you all they got. We don't have no daddies around here. You're the only male role model they have. And she lit into him. She lit into him. Because the one thing Chaotic said when he was talking to Tip and Prince, because Prince was telling him, you gotta get out of this environment. Like, you gotta leave the hood, get away from the hood, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to be, get that out, be successful and get away from bad influences. And he was like, yeah, but it's a whole lot of people in the hood that I gotta take care of, and that I see, that's that mentality. I ain't saying you can't be cool with who you cool with, but you don't have to. You're not here to save everybody. I don't know why people ain't learned their lesson from MC Hammer. You're not here to save everybody. You can help, you can be cool with, but you cannot save the hood. And that's what Prince was trying to tell him. Like, you can't save these people. You can be cool with them, but you don't have no obligations to the whole neighborhood. And his sister was letting him know the same thing. She was like, look, his mother said, look, I almost lost my job messing with you. She said, but look, once you make up your mind to do something, you do it. You weren't supposed to graduate from high school, but you told that principal you were graduating and you made up your mind you was going to do it, and you got it done. And it was a good moment, because I think people need to understand that. Like, yeah, you can be in the hood, but you don't have to be from the hood. I'm sorry. You could be from the hood, but you ain't got to be in the hood. That's what I meant to say. And at a certain point, you have to be responsible for your decisions. And even though right now you've gone legit, there are still consequences to the lifestyle that you created for yourself before this. So it was an interesting episode. Like I said, to me, it was a lot of just all over the place stuff, but it looked like it's some real serious situations going on with some of the people, as far as decisions they have to make, with Pleasure P, and then Chaotic. I don't know about his legal. I don't know how his legal situation is going to play out, but they charging him with everything. He's going to have to get him a good lawyer to explain, hey, I thought somebody was out after me and they never identified themselves. But y'all know that's not going to be that easy. There's a decision that has to be made. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.